Greetings, traveler. I bid you listen closely and enjoy what is to come.
Have you ever heard of Zhang Suichen? Online, he's starting to be called the Nostradamus of the Bamboo Curtain Country. Scary, huh? But wait, he's not a fortune teller using a crystal ball, music, or tarot cards. Professor Zhang is an academic who uses science, a combination of history, game theory, and the cycles of civilization to predict the direction of the future. And frankly, his predictions for the next 10 to 20 years are chilling. He's not talking about zombies or aliens. He's talking about the slow collapse of the world order as we know it, about endless wars, magnificent cities becoming ghosts, and a collapsing monetary system. Curious? Relax, grab your coffee, because today we're going to dissect Professor Zhang's dark predictions about the world in 20 years. Let's get into it. Okay, before we get into his predictions, we need to understand how Professor Zhang works. He doesn't just copy and paste. He uses a method called predictive history. Simply put, history often repeats itself. Humans, from the time of the pharaohs to the age of AI, when given power, fear, and resources, have similar behavior patterns. Professor Zhang looks at these broad patterns combined with current geopolitical data. Then he calculates the probabilities. It's like a weather forecast, but for human history. 100% accuracy is unknown. But if the data is strong, his predictions are worth listening to. Now let's look at the worst-case scenario he's reading for us. The first prediction is for the next 10 years, the future. The current war in the Middle East will not end quickly. In fact, Professor Zhang says the West, especially America, is falling into an ancient trap he calls the modern Sicilian expedition. What is a Sicilian expedition? In ancient Greece, the powerful Athens once ambitiously sent a large army to conquer Sicily. The result was complete destruction. They were overconfident, underestimated their opponents, and ultimately exhausted their resources on foreign soil. Professor Zhang predicts the same thing is happening now. Western powers will continue to be sucked into a war of attrition, a war whose goal is simply to exhaust their opponents. Mountainous terrain, asymmetrical warfare tactics, and resistant local populations will slowly wear down their mental and logistical resources. In 10 years, we will see a superpower running out of breath. Now, this is the most sensational prediction. We all know that Gulf countries like the United Arab Emirates or Qatar are now symbols of wealth, luxury, and stability, the dream destinations for investment and tourism. But according to Professor Zhang, in the next 10 to 20 years, all of this could, so the Fata Morgana vanished. Why? Because as the war around them escalates, their vital infrastructure will be targeted. He specifically said, imagine if their main oil refinery or their water desalination plant is destroyed. Without clean water and oil money, these magnificent cities cannot survive. Global investors will flee in fear. The stability that has been sold will be lost. Professor G predicts that this region will return to its original condition before oil was discovered, leaving empty buildings as monuments to human ambition. Very scary, right? Oh yes, just for information, did you know that King Mohammed bin Salman has already decided to cancel the construction of the ambitious The Line project? Could this be related to the current situation in the Middle East? Okay, moving on to the third prediction, the effects of which will be felt right down to our wallets. This is about the global economy. Right now, the world is really hyped about artificial intelligence, AI. Everyone is investing in it. All companies say AI is the future. Professor Zhang has a different view. He sees the current economy as a giant financial Ponzi scheme, driven by debt and speculation in the technology sector. He predicts that in the next decade, this AI bubble will burst violently, triggering a global economic depression far worse than that of 2008. Why? Because when the technology economy collapses, the petrodollar system, where the world's oil is sold in dollars, will also be threatened with collapse, especially if the second prediction comes to pass. This will permanently end the financial hegemony of one superpower. So what will be the end of all this chaos? This is Professor Zhang Suichen's final prediction for the next 20 years. According to him, all the conflicts and crises we see today are not aimless chaos. He touches on the rather sensitive narrative that these wars may be part of a secret design to music force a new world order. War is a trigger used to force countries to choose sides and exhaust the power of current hegemonic opponents. The end result, Professor Zhang projects, is an absolute shift in power. The world will no longer be unipolar or dominated by one superpower, but multipolar. A new order will rise, perhaps centered in Asia, music, replacing Western dominance that has lasted for hundreds of years. This is a painful historical evolution. But according to him, it is inevitable. In Professor Zhang Xin's prediction, the New World Order that will come in the next 20 years is not the creation of one person. This is a natural historical cycle in which Western hegemony collapses due to wars of attrition and financial crises, replaced by a multipolar system, namely world power divided into Asia, the BRICS alliance, and southern countries. These are my 5 predictions for the world for the next 5, 10, 20 years. The first thing that's going to happen in the Western world is the decline of democracy and freedom. Music. Second thing is economic collapse. As people have less and less right to speak up, they feel less invested in the system. They're less willing to work. Therefore, you have economic collapse. People don't believe in the system anymore. The system is in crisis. This will lead to immigration. The government is like, you know what? If the people don't want to work, screw them. Let's bring in immigrants. But the people are not going to sit back and take it, right? This leads to civil war. And it's like, you know what? If we continue to let them fight, eventually they're going to come out through us. So what we'll do is send them off to like these stupid, pointless wars overseas. So now you have stupid wars, stupid foreign wars. So that was a series of dark predictions from Professor Zhang Xueqin for the next 10 to 20 years. It feels very real and scary, right? But remember, predictions are not destiny. This historical predictive method only tells us the worst-case scenario based on past patterns and current data. This is a warning, not a certainty. The future is still fluid, and the decisions made by world leaders today and all of us can still change the direction of history. What do you think? Is Professor Zhang's prediction too much, or is it very logical considering the current world conditions? Write your critical opinion in the comments column below. Don't forget to like, share with your friends who like to discuss,